Qualifying is underway here in the Stock Car Racing League for Race 5 of the season, the Fisher Studios 200, and so far, Bryce Dossier has just been dethroned for the pole position by Parker Collins in a number 87 machine. Thank you for stopping by. If you're already enjoying tonight's broadcast, we had 800 subscribers earlier today, and I'm David Troy, your producer and commentator for this event, alongside River Page, who raced in the last event that we broadcasted earlier at Atlanta as well in the Gavin Austin full-set SuperSpeedway Series. Now, with 2 minutes and 50 seconds on the charts, Eric Heater going to take it to the top of the board with Joseph Jara in second and Vinny Tigner now in third. Guys are already getting on their way, getting it going here in qualifying, and only a few minutes before the show really does get on the road, as right now 15 drivers have taken their timed laps of what looks to be at least a 30 car field. So a lot of drivers going to be here for what could be their first start. How about a driver like, I believe there's going to be Carson Freeman now 15th on the board. Jordan Kuntz, a winner this season, already looking to get 2 wins on the season. And Terry Wells now going to take it up to 14th. So it's a mix of experience and a mix of new drivers getting ready to take on this series for the first time and take on old Atlanta for a total of about 130 laps and almost 200 miles. So River, as we get this one started, what's it going to take for success here at the trickiest version of Atlanta on iRacing?
Oh yeah, definitely. This track it's very tough to conquer with these trucks, so I think the name of the game for these guys is going to be tire saving. If they can get a long green run, the people that are best at running the bottom and saving their right front tires are going to prevail at the end.
And prevailing with tire saving is a big deal, but right now, nobody's saving their tires, as William Schmidt going to be on a tear so far in the number 79 machine. He's currently 13th on the board. Alec Davin now goes fastest on the charts, as it looks like Eric Heater going to be in 5th there, and very few drivers remain until the qualifying thing gets on its final seconds, and the swing of it, well, it's going to change very soon. Alec Daffin currently going to be top of the board, and that number 48 machine has an awful lot of pace. Right now, it does not appear that he is in a voice chat, although now looks like he has connected. Let's get a word for the man on provisional pole. It is the driver of the number 48 machine, and it is Alec Daffin. Currently, you're going to be provisional pole by 12 thousandths of a second. What's it going to take here to win in Atlanta?
Lots and lots and lots of saving tires and trying to keep guys behind you on the short run.
And there we have it. Saving tires is going to be a big factor, so we could see a short run, could see a long one. What's it going to take either way? And is your car set up for one better than the other?
I think I'll probably be neutral. I'll be set for the long run, but I think I can have some short run speed, especially clean air. But I've gotten wrecked in this race in the last 2 seasons in this league, so just as long as I finish with the clean car, I'll be happy. Obviously, we'll be going for the win, but I mean, we're just going to try and make it to the finish line, and anything other than that is icing on the cake.
And looking to finish, of course, as we are getting into about the first fifth of the season, you've got a lot of very good, consistent results to start it off. But now as we get to the grid, are you looking, of course, to add on to that point total, or, of course, will aggression set in early?
Obviously, looking out to the points still. I mean, I think just as long as I don't miss too many races, I'll be pretty locked in to make the playoffs, so gonna try and go for some wins. I know I'm not really the top driver of this league, so gonna have to take the opportunities where I get them, but yeah, when we get chances to go for wins, we'll definitely take it, and when we can't, we'll just try to get the best finishes as possible.
And absolutely, now that we have warm-up on our way, we'll get back to our starting grid. So before we get it going, Alec, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't expect to get the pole because I felt like I lifted one, two, I didn't need to, but apparently that's what I had to do. But yeah, obviously, hopefully have a good race tonight. Hopefully it's clean. Thanks to Shaw Racing Products. Thanks, Dave, for doing the broadcast, and good luck to everybody out there.
Absolutely. Alec Davin, top of the board here in qualifying for the Fisher Studios 200. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
That is going to be the voice of the Shaw Racing number 48. Now let's get your starting grid on your screen for tonight's event. It is, of course, the Fisher Studios 200, and we're thankful to have a great sponsor alongside us on board for tonight's event here at Atlanta. Hampton, Georgia, the site of this incredible 1.5 mile track, as we load up your starting grid for the 5th race of the season. Last time we went racing, it was at Montreal, overseas for the first time, and it was a great expedition, and a lot of guys able to get a lot of experience and know-how before we got this one going. But here and now, warm up on its way, and here is your starting grid for tonight's event. It's Alec Davin first with a 30.757, and Luke Peters in second with a 30.769. Then Davis Lewis is going to be in third, William Schmidt's going to be in fourth, and Matthew Weeks is going to be in position number 5 with Brandon Timon in 6th. Brian Russo for B3 Designs Racing going to be in 7th, and Jordan Kuntz is going to be in 8th, and Eric Heater and Carter Casey round out your top 5. River, let's get on from 11th to 20th.
Yeah, so starting in 11th, we have Joseph Jarr in 42 alongside Cameron D. Perez, Nicholas Presley 13th, Alex Talon 14th, Connor D. James in the 15th spot, and then Cody Webster 16th, Mike Campbell, Vinny Tigner, Michael Rosero, and Jacob Elkins, and that is your top 20.
And then from there on out, we have the 21st place driver of Parker Collins in the 87. Bryce Sassier going to be in the 22nd spot as Michael Deitch is 23rd and Sam Benson is 24th. Aaron Brown, Terry Wells, and Christian Mullen round out with 25th, 26th, 27th. Kyle Jackson is 28th, and Carson Freeman is the final driver to qualify on time. Looks like drivers that did not qualify with speed include Rick Spencer-Walt and then Mick Edmondson, Josh Coloni, Talon Drake, Corey Rexford, Alexander Balderas, Chris Tripp, Eric Keplinger, and finally Tyler Nolf, and that is your starting grid for tonight's event. 38 drivers looking to get it done at this mile-and-a-half track. And River, with so many drivers, what's it going to take to claw through the field if you didn't start up front like Alec Daffin?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've got 130 laps, so I think what these guys are going to be thinking is just, be calm. You don't want to wreck out lap 1, and I'm sure they're going to be saying you can't win it on lap 1. So, if I was one of them, I would just be taking it as easy as I can because the last 30 or so laps are going to be what really counts. So I think this guy's in the middle of the pack just going to hang out, save their stuff, just take it easy, honestly.
And taking it easy might just be the way to go as warm-up still on its way, and we're getting the regular ticker back on your screen, and it's going to be a great one here as we just have about 3 minutes remaining in warm-up. As it stands, it's actually going to be much less than that as Carter Casey top of the board, and Davis Lewis in the number 16 is second on the charts. Lap times are about 30 seconds, if not a bit shorter than that, but it still is a very quick circuit, even if these guys do have to let off the throttle. It is not the super speedway configuration of Atlanta, which you raced at earlier today, River. This is the mile-and-a-half that's been here since the late 90s and was in Hampton until last season in 2022. A major reconfiguration hit the circuit, and now this track, only preserved in the digital form, as drivers wrecking in the back of the field here in warm-up, is still going to be an incredible challenge in the digital scene. So what is different, of course, when it comes to running here compared to the new Atlanta in regards to strategy and pacing yourself as the night goes on?
The new Atlanta it's a super speedway, essentially, especially with the trucks. Maybe with the Cup Series, you're gonna have to save your tires a little bit, but with these cars, it's well, the trucks rather, it's all out full throttle the whole time. But with this layout, it's like any other 1.5 mile on the circuit. It's saving tires, lots of lanes to run. It's not going to be running in a pack, drafting around, except for first couple laps. I'm sure these guys will be real packed together with the help of the draft, but it's vastly different from the new layout. A lot harder to run. It's going to be really loose on cold tires, so we'll see how these guys are able to keep their stuff together and not wreck everyone.
And keeping their stuff together, a very key part of the equation. No faster pairs here tonight, so you gotta be good, or if not perfect, all the way along as we get things started here in Atlanta. Qualifying, it's over. Warm-up's over now, and we're gonna get things started in Hampton for the first time tonight. Carter Casey, top of the board in warm-up as we get the grid for tonight's event, and it looks like a few drivers did not take it in warm-up. They did not take to the field to get some more experience, so it's gonna be all about what they have in store as the day goes on. A day race, we might transition to the sunset, although I do believe that won't be all too likely. As the drivers get onto the grid so far, Jordan Kuhn's currently going to be the highest driver in position on that grid as we see a total of 38 registrations, and I do believe we will have at least 37 of which race tonight. Alexander Balderas has resigned from the session to go qualifying the FTF Bar Visuals Designs Cup Series event at Las Vegas. We'll see whether or not he gets into that one. Good luck to him, and he might just come back later. Maybe he pre-registered in the case something. Now, River, unfortunately that happened. We still have missed a thing. The grid is still not set to go racing here, and then thankfully we caught the issue before the race got on its way. So we're back live. Not sure what happened there. It doesn't look to be a technical issue that I can tell. However, sometimes things go wrong, but we still have not seen these guys turn left or right as the race is still not on its way. We're getting ready to go back at it. Alec Daffin with Luke Peters here. So River, as we get this thing going, I'm going to have to ask you again, what's it going to take for success here in, well, Atlanta?
Yeah, well, when we talked to Alec, it was all about, like he said, just hanging on to the lead. Defense is the name of the game here. Just stay in the lead, stay in the clean air, and keep your tires alive. It's going to be tough navigating these first couple laps with these guys in a big pack.
A big pack we might see. Now, these trucks, you said they're a bit different from the next gen, so how do they drive in comparison?
Well, they're a lot less powerful. They're a little bit lighter. It feels like they can, take the corners a little bit faster than next gen. It's gonna be a little bit tougher here around here. You're gonna have to lift a lot more, brake a lot more, and just overall completely different package when it comes to drafting and tire model, especially in this game. They're vastly different.
And vastly different as we get this thing going. Now, Atlanta, always one to watch as Alec Daffin holds on with Luke Peters, and the show will get on the road. However, we haven't gone green yet, and Michael Deitch is in chat now saying iRacing might just have an issue. So I'm not sure what's going on. Deitch might be able to give us a bit more insight. We'll try to get a word with him right now because it looks like something is going wrong. I just can't tell what's going on, because we should be green by this point, and I'm still getting telemetry. We will check in, and there we go. That's what's going on. We weren't looking at the right thing. My apologies. We're still under yellow, however, and according to timing and scoring, we're 2 laps in. So, River, any word for your end?
Yeah, it's, from my view, they did a lap and then the yellow came out. So I'm not sure if that's an iRacing issue or an issue on our end, but nevertheless, it looks like the field stayed relatively in their same positions. Alec Daffin's still in the lead. But got a couple of cars on pit road now. I just think those are the guys that didn't make the grid.
And you're right about that. We look to have some guys already on pit road, so not sure what that was about as we will take an instant replay. It looks like a wreck has already occurred, and we were not sure what was happening as we get it back on our way. Alex Tallman looks to be the first man involved with an incident as the yellow flag came out on iRacing, was glitching for just a moment. That's something you don't see every day, as it looks like Brian Russo goes up there and Alex Tallman gets involved with a multi-car wreck, and this is going to kill some trucks already. The 87 around. It's going to be the 9 machine of Jacob Elkins, Joseph Jara around, and something went wrong with iRacing because we're already reporting that drivers had an issue at the same time we did, and that brings out your yellow. So unbelievable first wreck, and we were not aware of what caught that. So looks like something went wrong with iRacing for the drivers, and we see our first yellow of the night. 3 laps in, multiple drivers having big time damage. Tallman and Parker Collins have already disconnected. 34 drivers that hit the grid, and now 29 are on the lead lap. Sam Benson going to be 1 down, minor damage. It looks like Aaron Brown going to go 1 lap down, this time by Alex Tallman, going to be with Parker Collins off the track, and Joseph Jara with a Chick-fil-A number 42 in a multitude of scratches on that one. As Alec Daffin still leads the way here, so a very short run to get this one started. And I'm guessing that these guys really don't feel like this race started just yet. And next time by will be the first race of the night already. But are these guys going to be able to get in the groove now? Because we had 1 yellow so quickly. Will it change mindsets already?
I mean, I think they took out a couple of cars. These guys, now they know that it's going to be a little bit unpredictable. As you saw, I think it was the 9. Just got a little bit loose off of turn 2 and kind of stacked everybody up. So I think now most of these guys are going to come in. They're going to be a little bit safer, I think. Especially, if I was here, I would just take it real easy, get some temp in the tires. I guess it was actually the 3 truck that went around first, but he caught it, and the guys behind him unfortunately did not.
Absolutely very unfortunate there. Some drivers already having their races in jeopardy as the drivers fly by once again. It looks like right now we have a good amount of the field on the track. Connor James now going to be there. It looks like 26 drivers are going to be on the lead lap as Vinny Tigner trying to catch up to Mike Campbell. So 24 drivers currently in this group as we have less than a lap to green, less than a half a lap to green as a matter of fact, as we get things going with 4 laps out of 130 on the board. Let's get this one started. Once again, it's going to be Alec Daffin with Luke Peters doing that once more, and the iRacing official pace truck going to back it in once again. Let's go racing here from Atlanta. First restart of the night in the Fisher Studios 200, and we are good to go. Let's go racing, led by Alec Daffin and Luke Peters. Green flag's going to be out already, and Luke Peters going to be side by side with Davis Lewis there in 3rd.
Yeah, it's just a really good gap already for Alec Daffin, but they're side by side all the way through. The top lane, 1 car washing up the track, and that's going to let Luke Peters get to 2nd. William Schmidt following him through, trying to clear Davis Lewis, and he's going to get that spot into turn 3. And they stay 2 by 2 all the way through behind them, but the 3 leaders single file out in front. Now Alec Daffin will lead the first full green flag lap.
And Alec Daffin able to get it done, still out in front of Luke Peters. Ticker going to go back up as it was showing the drivers that did not enter this event in the racing configuration. And here we go again, the 48 and the 4 on their way. Looking to settle the scores. The top 2 are running away now from William Schmidt and Brandon Timon. Now this is a race of saving tires, saving yourself for the tail end. And now it looks like some guys are being pushed to be a bit more aggressive. Alec Daffin might be one of which, because right now Luke Peters is all the way on that back bumper. How does that change your racing mentality? Because right now Luke Peters is going to go down the inside and Daffin might just have him let it go.
Yeah, Daffin's just going to give it up there. Daffin, he's definitely taken it a lot easier than the 4-truck Peters, who just really got on his high horse in the beginning there. He wants to lead, and he got it, but we'll see how his driving style changes now. Probably taking it a little bit easier. Those 2 are gone now, William Schmidt and Brendan Timon, keeping a steady gap in between the rest of the field. But those 2 leaders, especially Luke Peters now, is pushing it pretty hard, and he's driving away.
And driving away he is over Alec Daffin and William Schmidt. Schmidt is going to be on the move as well in that 3rd spot. And Brandon Timon trying to keep it intact here. He's going to be in 4th as these guys are getting single file spread out. We'll check about 12th spot here. Bryce Saucier going to be right there with Brian Russo. And Saucier trying to get some momentum into his season. Nicholas Cressy, his teammate, has been running a bit better than he has all season long. Just getting involved in some incidents early into races. Not able to get himself formulated for the remainder of events like this. But now Saucier looks to have something under his belt that might be a bit different, and it might be the key to his success as we get things going. And right now he's fighting pretty hard for that top 10. He goes to the high side on Cameron Perez, and this could be some, maybe a little too much aggression to the high side in most tracks anyway, known for saving some stuff. So even if you want to be aggressive, you could use that high line, as now Perez going to have to let that spot go.
Yeah, you really see Bryce is pushing the top lane. It's not going to be as good for your tires, but it's going to be a lot better for making passes, because you're able to keep the bottom lane from entering the corners as well as they can and exiting the corners as well as they can. And now you see the 07 pulling away. He's another one that seems to be pushing it a little bit harder, trying to catch this little pack of cars ahead of him. The pack is really split up already. It seems like there's a difference between those guys in the front that have already stopped racing and the guys in the back that are still, in the thick of it.
Right about that. These top 5, 6, 7 guys are already about a second ahead. The leaders right now are about 3 seconds away from the guys behind the 8th position car. That 8th position car, Bryce Saucier, is pushing oh so hard. But right now, Luke Peters, Alec Daffin, and William Schmidt, they've just about stopped racing. Now, we don't say that as a discredit to their competitive ability. They're absolutely still pushing hard. But now it just looks like they're going to use each other as buffers to keep themselves going. Luke Peters obviously wants to be in the front of this race. Clean Air going to be able to keep him out in front. Will have an advantage going into the pit cycle, and while he might burn a bit more tire, he's still going to have that edge going into pit road, which will be very, very important as we get this one going. 11 laps, not a long cycle so far that these guys have currently experienced, but when we get into the longer going, it will be much more important to be out in front of the pit run. The 4 machine going to hold on with Alec Daffin there in 2nd and William Schmidt in 3rd. These top 4 currently have about a 2-second gap over Davis Lewis in 5th.
These top 5, 6, 7 trucks really putting down some fast lap times right now. Bryce Saucier making up a little bit of time, but the leader's still setting the pace. Luke Peters in the 31.3, as compared to some guys behind him, 31.6s in that second pack, where they're still racing really hard here. See for 12th and 13th with Cameron Perez and Talon Drake side by side, and a lot of rows behind them side by side. So these guys, if I were them, I would be trying to take it a little bit easier, but they want to get to the front. They want that clean air, and they want track position, like you said, for the pit cycles. I'm not sure how long they can last on a full tank of gas, but every position matters when it is in terms of pitting, especially, want to come out higher, keep passing people.
And conservative driving is the way to go for some guys, especially those up front. These guys who are fighting each other side by side, well, they're doing battle. They are still much slower. That time by Brian Russo on the inside line of the battle with Michael Rosero. Well, he drove a 31.781. Luke Peters, your race leader, who's out in front with no draft, drove a 31.665. One guy's going to go way back to the pack. That's going to be Terry Wells, who's able to save it. Actually, Chris Tripp is going to be able to save it. And that 90 machine is now going to go all the way to the back of the lead lappers. He's 25th and last in contention so far. We'll take a look at just why that happened, because it looks like something went wrong for him, and he's coming off the high side. Terry Wells is next to him, and he makes contact, and he's going to have to dive himself into the wall, and that's a hard hit, but he's still going to be able to keep going.
Well, it looks like he's heading down pit road now. wanting to repair that left side damage as quick as he can. Looks pretty bad now. The left side's pretty pushed in as he hit the inside wall down the backstretch.
And not good for him. Chris Tripp now going to go a lap down. We've just about lost 10, 15, almost 15 drivers as these guys are getting to be in a race of attrition. It looks like 28 drivers are still in this session out of the 38 that registered. So guys are already filing back. And we said it in Atlanta, of course, in our pre-race chat that we leave to all our viewers. This is one track that tests drivers no matter what. A very, very, well, how should I say it? It's a track very full of character, and right now it's giving these guys a big test. Brandon Timon and William Schmidt went a bit loose that time by, and now it looks like you can see these guys up front have a huge advantage over the remainder of the field. William Schmidt right there behind your top two guys in Daffin and Peters, and now they're going up high. Now, I broadcasted about a week back. It was Atlanta with the Integrity Ignite Series with the Xfinity Series machines. Eventually, after the first 10, 15 laps in their 262-mile event that went almost 180 miles. I think I'm messing up the timing. It's going to be the other way around. But nonetheless, when that race occurred for hundreds of miles and hundreds of laps, they went up to the high side after the first 10 or 15. And that might be what these guys like Peters and Daffin are doing. Right now, they're going up way higher than a guy like, how about we look into the 6th spot? Davis Lewis right now. He's now going to go just a bit lower, actually a few lanes lower than where Luke Peters and Daffin are. And these guys choose to stay up high in the lead, and they could have that dominating line already formed.
Yeah, especially, tracks like this, the top lane's a lot more dominant, but the bottom lane does a good job of saving that right front tire. So if these guys want pace, they want to make a pass, they're going to go to the top lane. The defensive line would be the top. If you've got someone aggressive behind you like Alec Daffin, you saw him try and run the top with the Ford truck, who also went to the top to defend, but now they go back to the bottom. Probably knowing that they don't want to race quite as hard as they just were. Setting the pace in the field, they don't want to lose their tires too early.
And certainly you don't want to lose those tires at all, but it's going to happen sometime or another. Now Daffin going to try to take a peek out in the clean air, use that middle line. He rides the seam there as he gets way up high, and now they run about the same line through the front and back straight away. It's a lot harder to differentiate your line through the front and back and get a lot of draft, very minimal turn-in on the back to straight especially. And now Daffin goes way high trying to shoot it up there. Now Alec Daffin, as a matter of fact, finished second in that event, the Integrity Ignite Series. Xfinity cars with a much different field. Drivers like Ethan Lane, the Road to Pro Series, he's in that field, and now he's going to go down to the inside line using tricks that he learned at Monday's event, and he's going to be able to do it again. And Alec Daffin, a man on a mission now, as he's going to be right behind the driver, Luke Peters, barreling down once again, and William Schmidt is in that 3rd spot. Brandon Timon going to be in 4th, and Matthew Weeks going to be in 5th, as Davis Lewis is in 6th, and you can see Jordan Kuntz now about 4 seconds off, still pushing as hard as ever. These guys, their laps are now down to the 32-second range. The best, well, it was down to the 30-second range. Jordan Kuntz's best, however, was a 31.242. Now he's down to a 32.613. For Luke Peters, his best lap was a 30.754, but now he's down to a 32.420. So he's losing a lot of time, but he gains that lead back once again. Able to get that back, so that's going to be good for him, but still, you can see tire wear playing a big factor already.
Yeah, these guys in the front, I mean, as they continue to pull away from the rest of the field, just showing what they're doing for their tires that maybe those guys in the back that were racing really hard earlier aren't. You see the 48 going to the top. He really wants to lead. He's going to get a run down the back. He's going to try and go to the bottom, but if the 4 can stay on his door, I think he's just going to drive back around him in that middle lane, which is a lot quicker. But now Daffin's going to drive it in deep, try and slide job on him. Oh, as we got a caution.
Caution is out. That's going to be a battle in the back of the pack. Mike Campbell and Tyler Nolf going to go around, and we'll get an instant replay on the broadcast to find out just what happened. Mike Campbell in the number 10 machine going to be involved in our second caution of the night, 22 laps in. So Tyler Nolf going to go a bit high there, run it up the track, and Nolf gets loose. And then Mike Campbell gets tapped by Brian Russo, and they both go around subsequently. And then they're going to be pushed out by Russo again. Big time front end damage for the 10. That might be race ending, and Tyler Nolf going to get some side damage left and right. So this could be fatal to their trucks. And you can see the 61 tries to limp away. Brian Russo doesn't even make an attempt, or rather, Mike Campbell doesn't make an attempt. And that could just be his night. He's going to be able to get it actually going again. But he's going to be on pit road right now, entering, and you can see that front end is all battered up. And Vinny Tigner going to be there as Tyler Nolf going to come down pit road anytime now. And Brian Russo is still going to be in 16th here, but evidently he has some damage on that right front. If we try to take a look at that suspension, I'm pretty sure you'd see the damage that the entire field is going to come in this time by, led by Alec Daffin.
Yeah, I mean, they've done, let's see, 23 laps or so on these tires, so they know they're going to take 4 here. They're going to take a lot of fuel, try and get it full up, get as far as it can go as Alec Daffin and the rest of the field into their pits clean. Looks like there's no issue so far, as the leaders taking right sides, and now they're all going to get those left side tires on. And it seems like one truck, Jordan Kuntz, might have taken a 2-tire approach as he comes out first. But the only truck to do so, Alec Daffin second, and Schmidt comes out in third. Brendan Timon fourth. Maybe a little bit of an issue for Luke Peters on pit road. He's out a little bit slow.
Now that's going to be interesting when you mention both Luke Peters and Jordan Kuntz. Still the entirety of the field is rolling out, but now Jordan Kuntz with that 00 is in the lead. And that was a very quick pit stop, 7.6 seconds over Alec Daffin's 14 flat. That's about half the time. And now I'm not sure what that's going to mean, because I don't think that you can take all 4 tires with that. We'll see if he comes down to this time by. If he doesn't, we'll try to get an interview, as now he has Jacob Elkins right in front of him trying to get his lap back next time through. The 00 for Proximity Racing is out in front, and he will stay out in front. This is going to be a big gamble. Jordan Kuntz now is going to be top of the board. We'll get him dialed up here. I'm not sure what's going on, but absolutely going to be a big gamble on strategy. We'll get Jordan Kuntz on into the voice chat, because certainly something is happening here. Into the broadcast with Jordan Kuntz leading the way. What's going on with strategy? That's the fastest stop we've seen all race long.
Maybe fast because I didn't take any tires, but it's going to be close with tire sets, and the strategy is just banking on a late race caution. I already have a win locked into the playoffs, so going to try to be risky and try to get the win at the end.
And it looks like a lot of time for you to hone your craft in on strategy. So with that being said, do you believe we're going to get a race caution? Of course, I guess you do, but tire strategy, how many do we have on this limit?
So at the beginning of the race we had 4, and we would have to make a few extra pit stops. I think 4, and would have 0 for the end. So I'd wanting to save a set, be fast at the end when it matters.
Being fast when it matters, of course it is at the end. How's the truck felt otherwise? We saw you in the top 10, but right now the leaders just seem to be able to pull away.
I haven't been pushing it. I've been basically coasting, keeping up the momentum, not going full throttle down the straightaways, and saving fuel.
And how about that? Well, it looks like a strategy to take note of here for the 00 machine as we get back to 1 to green this time by. Any final thoughts?
This is going to be really interesting. Hopefully I just don't wreck.
And there we have it. Jordan Kuntz, top of the board so far. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
This is going to be one to watch. How about that? He's going to try to stick it out on no tires. So these guys up front, they're going to have some quick work with him to get around. So we'll see whether or not they're able to do that. That could be an incident in itself. But Jordan Kuntz, as you heard, locked in already. So he's got a lot of time to kill and a lot of races to kill when it comes to strategy.
Yeah, only car on no tires, so this is going to be definitely interesting to watch. Not sure how the bottom lane is going to get around him here. Just see if he gets a good start, and then maybe they can get him off of turn 2. But, like you said, four tire sets, so banking on a late race yellow. And if there is one, no one else seems to be on this type of strategy yet in the race. So if there's a late race yellow, then he is going to be set up perfectly to just drive around everybody else.
This could be a move to keep count of with about 10-15 laps to go, but only 26 laps in, and Jordan Kuntz chooses to save a tire set very early in the going. This is the Fisher Studios 200 live on Fireball Talks NASCAR. We had 800 subscribers today, so if you enjoy the action, make sure to like and subscribe. Your support is always greatly appreciated, as it's the iRacing official pace truck that backs it in this time by restart number 2 in the light. Now it's going to be led by Kuntz and Daffin. Let's go racing once again. The 48 going to get a great start. Of course, those new tires are going to be put to work, as Jordan Kuntz now going to be put to work as well. But in a negative light, as William Schmidt going to be all over him with Luke Peters as well, already on the chase. Now these guys, you're sure they're not going to have a lot of patience for the guy who has those old tires. So how long will Jordan Kuntz try to run with the big dogs until he gets swallowed up?
Yeah, I mean, I think he knows that he's at such a big deficit now, as we got another wreck in the middle of the field, as Alec Daffin got a great restart, and now he's ahead of the 00 on the old tires. But get a look at what caused this caution.
Looks like Carson Freeman involved in this one, and it looks like the 19 machine of Freeman gets loose, and he gets all squirrely, then hits the 15 machine, and around he goes. Carson Freeman gets into Terry Wells, and Freeman on debut involved with an incident. Josh Coloni going to be there as well, and Mike Campbell barely gets away with it there, but Carson Freeman goes down and around. We'll try to get an inside look to what happened to the Carson Freeman machine. Here's on board with the driver of the number 19.
Yeah, looks like didn't really see that 3 truck coming below him, and then overcorrects up into be the 15 truck of Terry Wells, and that could be a race ender for both of them. Really big impact, and then a couple more trucks collected.
And I'm pretty sure that's just because this is inexperience for Carson Freeman. First race on the tour, and he's going to get involved in an incident. Terry Wells is going to come out on pit road. He absolutely has an awful lot of damage here, as he might be the next to retire. His motor is blowing. I don't know if they can fix that in time before it blows up. If it expires, he's done. And right now, smoke is billowing out of that thing, and the 15 machine might be in jeopardy already. Tyler Noff going to be there out on the track. He's 1 lap down. We'll be able to get it in, as Carson Freeman still is going. Motor is not blown for him, but Terry Wells is in a bit of trouble here. I don't believe that there was a car inside that cockpit, or rather a driver inside that cockpit, and he has just disconnected off the track, and I don't think that we will see much more from the 15 tonight. Retiree, and that's going to leave us with 28 on the circuit.
Yeah, saw a lot of smoke out of that truck. It's going to be a lot of repairs for him. But Carson Freeman staying out on the track right now. I'm not sure if that's just because pit lane is closed or because if he's just going to try and stick it out. It honestly doesn't look that bad on the right side of his number 19 truck. So we'll see how he can run with this damage.
That we will see. It's going to be a bit of damage, but it's not fatal just yet to that machine. Terry Wells, of course, has his motor blown, as it's going to be Carson Freeman who came right up into him, so not good there. And Freeman going to have to work his way back up. Jacob Elkin's going to be right there. He's 7 laps down, but he's back on the track. The track doesn't look all too bad now. Still a few marks on it, but he's going to need a few more cautions to get himself back up anyway. Honor James in the 35 machine, 8 laps down, and Chris Tripp is 14 down, still waiting to get back on. Logan Lax in chat, thank you for the time in this chat room, and also thank you to Fisher Studios and River Page. Of course, you're in the broadcast booth, and Michael Deitch as well, as we get this thing going. Alec Daffin still going to be the one at the top of the board, and nobody right now going to be taking an advanced, or rather extreme, strategy decision besides Jordan Kuntz, and Kuntz is still up there in 3rd.
Yeah, Kuntz, he's definitely going to be liking to see quick yellows like this because, I mean, they're just going to keep him higher in the standings. If they get a big green run, he's definitely going to fall to the rear of the field. Now he's going to restart 3rd, it looks like, on the bottom lane, so it's going to be a little bit harder for the rest of the field to get around him because he's not in the 1st lane. He's going to be right in the middle, and a lot slower on those old tires, so we see how it shapes out for Jordan.
And that we will still top 30, or rather top 3 as well, but it is going to be 30 laps in out of 130, so it's a series of 3s. Position number 3, 30 laps in out of 130, and William Schmidt going to be right there beside him in 4th. We're going to check on Mike Campbell still on the track here alongside Tyler Noff, Josh Coloni, and Vinny Tegner. And Carson Freeman not going into pit road. Rear end doesn't seem to be all too damaged. Still just a bit of a contact there on the front end. So he's still going, but Brandon Timon going to be in front of him as well. And Rick Spencer Wall going to be up into 17th. And Spencer Wall going to be there with the 24 on his paint scheme. But he's the 97 on timing and scoring. Looking to see what he has in store, as I believe this is his season debut as well. Christian Mullen in the 16 machine for W Energy, chasing the dub as we get back going. Double file here. Michael Rosero going to be with Eric Heater in 7th and 8th. It's now Alec Daffin with Luke Peters. And Daffin and Peters have had the battle of this race so far in their hands. Now, of course, they haven't been playing all too hard. Luke Peters might be a bit more aggressive than Daffin, but when we get back to it this time by, after a brief caution, back-to-back yellows here, what's it going to take for a guy like Daffin to make it happen?
Well, you know, Daffin, he came in on the initial start with the mindset of just getting out in front and hanging on to the lead, but Luke Peters was a lot more aggressive. He got around him, held on to the lead, and then it seemed like Daffin really wanted it back. Daffin, he pushed real hard to get up to him, couldn't quite make the pass until the end of the run, so Luke Peters may have been on the short end of the stick there with that aggressive mindset and lost some tires in the long run, so I think Daffin is going to keep doing what he was doing before. He's taking it easy on his tires. Luke Peters might do the same. He's going to have a bit of a cushion behind him with the Jordan Kuntz machine on these old tires.
that we will see. The cushion going to help him out to stay in the top 2, but it's all about the battle for the lead once again. It's going to be Luke Peters and Alec Davin going at it once more. Let's go racing once again. Davin's going to get a much better restart, and Jordan Kuhn's going to follow the wayside 3 wide already. Green flags back in the air, and Double Zero going to try to hold on swinging, but it's Alec Davin out in front, and now Jordan Kuhn's going to be sent into the wayside, and he's going to have to fight from here on out. They're about 3 wide there. It's going to be Davis Lewis about 3 wide for a moment there with the driver of Michael Rosero and Eric Heater. Rosero's going to get in the wall just a bit, able to hold on to it nice and smooth. The back of the pack playing nice so far. As we see single file back here. It looks like about 20 odd guys still in this lead pack as William Schmidt holds on as well. Now it's going to be a 3-car tandem. And where did he come from? Well, third, and now he's going to try to make it second, fighting with Alec Daffin as the outside line now has 2 drivers compared to 1. Alec Daffin now going to be way up high there with an awful lot of momentum. It's going to be able to carry him in, and we're working back straight away. It looks like it will crossover move there. A nice move, and now momentum playing in. The high side able to get Alec Daffin up front, and the 48 leads again. And Luke Peters not able to do anything about it. Now these guys are beginning to heat up their battle, and we will see what this means for the remainder of the race.
Yeah, Peters down to the bottom now, side by side again. It's going to put the 48 on the top and 1 and 2 for another lap in a row, but he's just gonna relinquish the spot. Obviously, he doesn't want to push, and now William Schmidt riding around in that middle seam. He's gonna get a good run on Daffin. Daffin protecting the bottom. Schmidt's gonna look to the top in 3 and 4. I don't know how that's gonna work out for him. It looks like Daffin's gonna clear him, or he'll stay in 3rd.
And Daffin able to hold on for the moment. The 48 machine out in front quite nicely. He's going to have Luke Peters still leading him, but 34 going to become 35 laps in out of 130. And high side, they go diving again, and the 48 machine able to hold on. The 4 Luke Peters, still your race leader. The top 3 are leading and gaining once again as Matthew Weeks now with Michael Rosero. 4th and 5th are slowly but surely fading back. We'll check them in the mid-pack right now. They're going to be 3 wide entering. It looks like turn 3 and 4. Cody Webster, your Daytona winner, going to take it 3 on Jordan Kuntz, and now Kuntz is fading back. His last lap was a 31.706. The last lap for the man he's right in front of, Bryce Saucier, was... Whoa, someone's in the grass now. It's going to be a multi-car incident if they don't save it, and it looks like they will be able to.
Kept it straight. Wow. Not sure who that was. Looks like Christian Mullen, that W number 75. Oh, and he comes back up the track in front of Tyler Nolf. And I wouldn't be surprised if that brings out a yellow, as the 61 heavy front end damage.
And we're taking a quick look back at everything there. Wow, the 75 machine of Christian Mullen able to save it to start and tries to get back on the track, but gets in the grass again and then has a bit of trouble getting onto the apron, and he just dives right up at the Nolf, and no yellow out for that one. That was Baheen. 2 guys who are going to be laps down. They're going to be 25th and 26th if they lose more time. Currently 21st and 22nd, but they're definitely going to lose more as the night goes on. 75 machine on the apron, and so is Tyler Nolf. Nolf looks to be killed right now. He is limping. I think his motor blew.
He's blown up. He's got no power. He's going to try and roll up back to pit lane, but that's going to be a long wait to get that truck repaired, and I don't even know if it's worse that he's just rolling around on the apron right now.
I think he's just going to let it coast until it's done, because he has no fast repair. I think that's it. Maximum damage accumulated, and Tyler Nolf is done for the night. He's still limping right now as the leaders are going to get by him, and Christian Mullen makes his way in. We'll see how long he chooses to stay on pit road, because it looks like he is going to be able to get service and get back out there.
Yeah, that's tough for Tyler. He's riding around in the back in an incident earlier in the race, and now his race is over as the leaders go by him in 3 and 4. But yeah, he's just going to let it roll, it looks like, until the bitter end for that motor. The 75 in pit road doesn't have that much damage. You know, that rear end damage shouldn't affect him that much. He doesn't look that bad on his truck, but like you said, we'll see how long he decides to wait before he gets going again. Tyler Nolf still coasting around on the apron as the leaders make their way out of turn 2 side by side for the lead. The 4 truck looking on the inside in the 3.
And Alec Davin still able to hold on. And you can see Tyler Nolf still there. I'm not sure if that's going to be a hazard if he does not pit. The admins might have to get involved if he stays on the apron much longer, because I don't believe he's even moving anymore, Tyler Nolf is, as the leaders pass him once again side by side. If they were to make even minor contact and hit Tyler Nolf, you're certain that there's going to be some tempers flaring. But right now, Davin going to go way high and give Luke Peters a lot of room. But you can see barreling down. Right now, Alec Davin going at a speed of 175 compared to Luke Peters going at 172 at the moment of comparison. And he's able to use that high side to his advantage every single time. Tyler Nope going to be despawned from the track. That's going to be done and done for the 61. And the leader's going to fly back in front of the packed stands here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Cha-ching to the 48. He's going to be able to keep it going. Now, we're going to head into 41 laps out of 130. William Schmidt running much higher now, trying to use the top groove to keep it going. But now the 48 and the 4 hold on strong. Schmidt chasing them both. But they have a 1 second gap over Matthew Weeks in 4th.
Yeah, Schmidt trying to run the top now. Alec Daffin's gonna move up about a lane, get a little bit looser on that middle seam. That's something you could do at this track, is use those seams to get the car get that rear end out a little bit and help your cornering speed. It won't be as tight. Now Daffin staying on the bottom, but Luke Peters to the top. He's gonna try and push a little bit harder to get to the back end of the 48. Get that momentum off of the corner. Has William Schmidt all over his rear end. Now Luke Peters with a big run. He might go to the bottom. He's going to try it into turn 3. Is it going to stick? No. The 48 using the seam on the top. And he's just going to drive around him. But the 4 stays with him. If you get side draft, you could get him into turn 1.
Double file, these guys still are. It is an absolute battle to behold. As you can see, riding over the rear end of Alec Daffin, Schmidt's in frame, and it looked like for a moment the quarter panel of Luke Peters was as well. But these two are too close for comfort and too close to call. Every single time that Luke Peters gets that edge, Alec Daffin rips it high, and every time that Peters gets it, it's all vice versa, and it's all time and time again. These guys pass each other. Peters gets the lead, Daffin goes for it. Daffin gets the lead, Peters goes for it. And now these guys are playing cat and mouse with each other just to get to the next run on tires. 19 laps, guys are slowly but surely exiting if they get involved with Rex in the back, and now we have a total of about 21 guys on the track. So guys at the moment who are still on the circuit, 20 of which on the lead lap, now know that they can ride it out and wait for that next pit cycle and perhaps wait for the next caution and get lucky. Right now, aggression might not be the key factor to the way this race goes. As we're now going to take a look at the battle between Davis Lewis and Cameron Paris and Eric Heater, and it's going to be Heater and Davis Lewis side by side now. These two are going to be the most aggressive on the track as they're double file for only a moment.
Yeah, these guys in the back, you know, just riding around, but they're trying to make some moves. But most of the field's single file, except for now. It looks like there was one battle for the 12th position, but that has gotten single filed out. Is everyone knowing the name of the game is to save tires and watching these leaders? Now, Luke Peters going to go to the bottom again, try and make the move stick this time into 3 and 4. Is it gonna work? It doesn't look like it, but he's gonna have the edge of a 4, so that's gonna be really good for him into turn 1. He's even with Alec Daffin, who will lead that lap, but not by much. As they come down into turn 1, Daffin way up high, Luke Peters on the bottom, but not that much of a speed difference in the corner, and the 48's gonna get a nice good run off of turn 2, and he's gonna clear him again. It's just Luke Peters really can't complete the pass on the bottom. 48 does a great job of defending every time he tries.
And defense has been the name of Alec Daffin's game so far, and it's all about keeping your principles in order. Right now, Daffin just seems to be able to keep it intact every time he has the challenge for the lead. And when you were talking about for 12th for just a moment. Now, as we looked at it, Rick Spencer-Walt is in that 12th position right now, and it looks like he is charging hard because look at that front end damage that Chevrolet Silverado certainly has an aerodynamic disadvantage. Every time that Brandon Timon gets down to his inside, he's just able to use that momentum on the high side and maybe put a bit more pedal to the metal there and keep himself going. The 75 machine going to be back on the track, by the way, but at the 24 here is not Cameron Perez, but it is going to be Rick Spencer-Walt fighting hard, and the reason is, well, he's got a little less motor, but he's still keeping himself in the mix with guys who don't have damage. So a very commendable effort here for the man, that number 97, keeping himself going. As you can see, Talon Drake now going to make a move on Cameron Paris. They're going to go side by side for a moment, but Paris blocks, and now it's going to be the 70 machine ticking the clock. And as time is running out here until our next pit stop, and the 70 is going to go way high on Cameron Paris.
Yeah, Paris, you see this battle for, it looks like the 9th position. Talon Drake trying to go side by side, but Paris clears him off at 2. As the 70 has no more momentum to get with him. And you talked about the number 97, the DuPont Chevy. He's got front end damage, so what you can do with that is you can carry a lot more speed into the corners, rather you won't have to lift as much, and as long as you're in the draft, he'll be able to stay with the people in front of him. So he's using the top to carry momentum because he probably doesn't have as much power as his fellow competitors with that front end damage.
That is some great strategy for the man in that number 97 machine, able to hold himself in the 12th spot out of a total of 38 entries, so gaining a lot of points after tonight's run, and even though it might not be the best ride inside the cockpit, he's putting on a commendable show that's worth recognizing. Great job for the man in that 24. Let's go back to Alec Daffin right now. He's still leading the way. Now William Schmidt goes down to the inside line, and he's going to try to make something happen here on Luke Peters. He's still been on the chase of these leaders all night long. He's not been able to do anything with it just yet, but it's certain that if he gets the opportunity, he'll make that move. He's not one to mess around with. William Schmidt is not. He ran great last season, not able to capitalize on the championship, but now trying to get some momentum in his favor. So you can see he's going to fly down once again, and these top 5 guys are now within that second, and it looks like they're all spread out almost evenly, as Matthew Weeks going to be there with Michael Rosero. So the top 5 guys have about a second and a half on 6th. And with this train forming, it could mean domination. As you can see, these guys behind him, including Eric Heater and Cody Webster, they're racing just a bit harder, and that might eventually slow them down. Last lap by Eric Heater in the draft, slower than the race leader of Alec Daffin.
Front, they're using up multiple lanes on the track. See, the 4 went all the way to the top, and 3 and 4 just trying anything to get around the 48. And as they go down to 1 and 2, both riding on that top lane. They know it's a little bit quicker right now, as they've gotten William Schmidt to follow them to the top. Matthew Weeks in 4th, still trying to hang on to the bottom lane, but it's starting to slip away, that pace on the bottom. The top has come in as the 4 truck all over the back end of the 48 of Alec Daffin. And Daffin a lot better in the center of the corner, but the 4 is going to get a big run off as he goes a little bit lower in the tri oval, but can't make anything happen. See if he can make a move into turn 1.
Looks like so far he has not. He's going to go stay high with the man in that number 48 machine. So these guys are keeping themselves honest right now, not necessarily going all the way when it comes to aggression, but keeping it back and forth nice and steady. Is Cody Webster going to be side by side with Eric Heater there? Webster able to keep that spot. We go back up to the lead battle here. Whenever that number 4 machine goes one lane, and Alec Daffin just chooses to go to the opposite. Right now, I think his goal cut off that airflow. You can see that Daffin's going to have the 4 machine gain on him through the front straightaway. That's evident. It's the front straightaway. You can't turn all too much or you're going to wreck yourself. But when they go high, it just seems like Daffin is a master of blocking the airwaves that he's getting. The draft is minimized, and Luke Peters is going to have to keep that car intact. He almost wrecks it there, as now Matthew Weeks fighting with William Schmidt here. I think Matthew's got something going on. He might be a bit quicker than the 79 machine, and he might just be pushing it hard until the tail end.
Yeah, he's been one of the guys that I've been noticing is just hanging on in the bottom lane, which is gonna be better for your tires. Is now staying even with Schmidt, but Schmidt's gonna have the top in 1 and 2, which is the preferred line. As you see the 2 leaders running up there, and with that battle, Luke Peters really can't do anything, especially in 1 and 2, as the 48 gets really loose but hangs on to the spot. The 4 really can't do anything on the bottom lane. It's just not as quick right now. The 48 doing a great job defending, but now Luke Peters goes to the inside.
Cody Webster falling back a lot of positions. Apologies to interrupt you, but it looks like something happened there to the 91 machine. He fell back from about 5th to 11th here, and it looks like he continues to drop. It looks like he might be coming down on pit road.
Yeah, let's see. It looks like, oh man, he got really low. He lost the momentum off a turn 2, had to check up, and he got hit by the 16. And a great save. Wow, he was really loose. And keeps it straight, loses a lot of spots, and comes in for probably, I would assume, his 2nd set of tires. And so he'll be the fastest guy on track for now. But he will go a lap down. No one else pitting. That definitely wasn't the strategy, but now he will be a lot quicker. And see if this will help or hurt him. I don't know if it will help him.
I don't know if it will help him either. Still an incredible save, but right now, did he come down pit road? Yeah, he did. He came down, got his stop done. He's already back out. 14-second stop, it appears. And he's going to be on his way. Jordan Coons came down. Mike Campbell is coming down as well. So maybe this is strategy. Maybe you just got it at the perfect time, that contact, able to save it, make a nice move, get himself some TV time. But now guys appear to be coming into the back of the pack. It's going to be Mike Campbell, Cody Webster, and Jordan Coons who have came down so far. It appears they're already going to be on the move, and it could be the guys up front next. Yep, one guy is going to come down this time by Carter Casey. It is time for tire strategy to put itself into effect, so this could be the time for guys to calculate. It's shocking that it was able to work out for the 91 machine, but now it is going to be all time for tire strategy. The 99 and the 1 going to be on pit road at the same time. There's Vinny Tigner and Carter Casey on the move. Casey's going to be on track and on pit road as Alec Daffin is still out
here
in
comes the
front.
leaders.
And they're coming in this time by. Matthew Weeks is going to be able to lead him, and now it's going to be the 48 leading the 4 onto pit road. Michael Rosero going to be with William Schmidt and Eric Heater. And further in the back, Jordan Kuntz going to come in as well. No, that's going to be Brandon Timon. And this changes everything. Strategy and underway. 59 laps in after a 35-lap stint.
Yeah, that's honestly perfect timing for the 91. Of course, he lost a couple seconds when he got spun, but he came in before everybody else. So he's going to have that 1 lap ahead of everyone who were on old tires, where he's going to gain a lot of time. So definitely not the end of the world for the 91. Trying to find him on track now and see where he is. He's coming into turn 4, currently in 20th, but he's going to pass some of those guys who are on pit road now. The bulk of the field has pitted. See where your leader will come out. You see Luke Peters, William Schmidt, and the 48 Alec Daffin with Michael Rosero just making it out of turn 2. As Jordan
Kuntz is going to be on the way.
Yeah, he's still on old tires, though. You remember he talked about how he's trying to save a set for the end. So, racing for the lead now, but he's going to drop very quickly, as these guys on fresh tires are just going to blow by him, just as they did on the start, or the restart, should I say, when he was on the older tires.
Now, when I talk about dropping off, there's going to be 2 things. 1, Cody Webster disconnected from the session. Looks like his race is done. And 2, Jordan Kuntz is on an 8-lap tire set. We try to get a replay. What happened to the Cody Webster machine? Something certainly happened for him to have disconnected. But Cody Webster down and out after that spin and save. But the double zero is on an 8-lap set. He pitted just a bit early. So he's going to be trying to play the long game on strategy. He's going to cycle out in just about 3rd, fall back a bit more. But the 91 machine might have just had an internet issue. We're trying to find out just what happened. He's falling down to 21st.
Looks like he's just driving, making up spots. He was actually ahead of William Schmidt, so that spin might have done him a good favor. He was going to be in, looks like, the 4th position, but disconnects just as he starts making passes. That's very unfortunate for the 91.
That's unbelievable misfortune for the man who got spun and gets disconnected. Yeah, he's down and out. And that's a series admin. I don't believe he would have gotten disqualified for anything, not involved in a wrecks, and that is going to bring an end to a run that looked oh so promising. Corey Rexford going to be timing and scoring his leader, and now he comes down on pit road. Last man to come in. It's that 03 machine as the Apex Action 8 has now cycled out into 9th. As he comes down on the pit road, it's Alec Daffin leading the way with Michael Rosero, Luke Peters, and William Schmidt. And Jordan Kuntz now on an 11-lap old set being hunted down, so strategy is in play almost halfway into this event. And you can see guys are playing a bit more aggressive, some playing conservative, and Jordan Kuntz playing it all the way around.
Yeah, it looks like, I believe, if the 03 didn't have an issue on pit road, he's going to come out the leader, it looks like, unless he is a lap car. I'm not sure what the timing and scoring right now, but for the moment, yeah, he is a lap down. So Alec Daffin, or rather about to go a lap down, Alec Daffin hangs on to the lead. Mike Rosero has taken 2nd through the pit cycle. Luke Peters follows him in 3rd, Schmidt 4th, and the field a lot more spread out now, as these guys in the front using, or just a lot better on pit road entry and exit. They get able to use a lot more track, get in a lot deeper and out a lot quicker. And there's a huge gap forming, it looks like, between Jordan Kuntz in 7th, and it's all the way back to Carter Casey in 8th, with at least a couple seconds of a gap.
That gap is indeed forming, but it looks like one driver going to come on pit road. Brian Russo looks like he might have came down for an incident. He's 3 laps down now, trying to find out just what happened, because he came in, and this does not appear to be a strategy call, although it looks like he just had damage before that he wanted to fix. So we take a quick look, and he's going to be back out on his way. Matthew Weeks side by side with Eric Heater there. This is for 5th. These guys up front trying to play the strategy cards right, and the gap is forming. Davis Lewis, who's in 8th, is 6 seconds behind your leader. Matthew Weeks, who's 3 spots away in that 5th spot, is only 2 seconds back. So there's a big gap between 5th and 8th right now. That's going to span several seconds as one's going to pull onto the inside line of the track. That's Christian Mullen. This is Day Dunn. No, it's not going to be Christian Mullen, but it's going to be Josh Coloni. And Coloni with the number 33 Underwood machine, or Linderwood machine, going to take it way under. And he's going to be back on his way. Christian Mullen still on the track as well. Some guys with damage still here, as it looks like now 17 drivers are on the lead lap with Vinny Tigner, being the last of which 20 seconds separate the entirety of the field. but only 2 seconds separate the top 5, and a total of now 7 seconds separate the top 10. So the spread is much more noticeable and apparent as it gets much less dense by the tail end of the guys in the lead lap. No, it's going to be Rick Spencer wall in the wall, and that's going to bring together a multitude of more scratches, and that's going to perhaps end the great run that he had, being very creative and using his ingenuity to keep himself in the battle. We'll take a look. Spencer Walton the wall, and this could be even more damage than what he already had.
Yeah, looks like he's going through 1 and 2, running that top lane, gets on the gas a little early, and the truck just gets really tight, trying to get out of the throttle, but gets in the wall and he just gets stuck in it. That's one of the unfortunate things about this combination about this truck is it's hard to get it out of the wall once you put it in the wall, and so that's going to put a lot of right side damage on the 24, though it honestly doesn't look too bad. He might have lost a couple spots, but definitely not the end of the world for the 24, or rather the 97, who still suffering from front end damage, trying to stay in the lead pack, runs in 12th currently.
And still in that 12th spot as we look at a driver just about 3 spots ahead. It's going to be Jordan Kuhn cycling down into the 9th spot, 17 laps into his run. Now, he's about halfway until he gets into his next pit stop, so we'll see how long he's going to play it and how hard he's going to play it. Another driver going to pass him, Talon Drake. He's playing strategy much differently, going to be about 7 or 8 laps newer tires when he gets back out, but then they age at the same time as Alec Daffin, and the remainder of the pack will come in just a bit later. Michael Rosero going to be there with his teammate in Luke Peters, and both running Stuart Haas racing numbers, and it's evident that they are racing one another quite hard, and you could see side by side they continue to battle for a moment. In the back of the pack, it's going to be between Brandon Timon and Jordan Kuntz. Timon gets by, but single file still up front. Alec Daffin holds on, and these top 4 guys are taking the ride of their life. They're gaining more time on Matthew Weeks. However, I will say that Matthew Weeks seems to have his car come alive whenever he comes down to like the midway segment of the pit cycle, and eventually during that later run he's able to get back up into the top 5, maybe even the top 3. He's in 5th right now, so opportunity to gain for the big man in the 11.
Yeah, definitely. We saw the last run. He saved his tires a lot better than these leaders who started running the top a little earlier than I would have expected, and Matthew Weeks just stuck to the bottom lane and he drove right up to the back of the top 3. He has gained a little bit since I was last looking at him. Still running the bottom. I would be interested to see when these leaders start running the top, and if Matthew Weeks sticks to the bottom again. Stays with the winning formula as we see the 4 truck going to the top lane. One of the first takers is Luke Peters, trying to hold off William Schmidt and losing a lot of ground on his teammate Michael Rosero. And Alec Daffin still with a comfortable lead, but the field mostly, now this top 5 all going back down to the bottom line.
And the bottom line now going to be playing into the favor of the drivers. So this could be changing track position, or rather track condition. No drivers really in this top 5 have changed position since the pit cycle, so I don't know what could be causing that shift in attitude. But you can see now it's going to be Luke Peters running way high, and these guys on the inside line, I don't think they're going to be saving tires on the inside line. It might be a bit more aggressive, but with all the distance that they have with the remainder of the pack, this could be the way to go to keep them in tact. Now Matthew Weeks is gaining back in, as I said beforehand. It's about 12 laps in at about 35 until the next pit cycle. So it looks like Matthew Weeks gaining back in. The pressure might be put on again to keep driving harder. And Alec Daffin, who knows this, is pushing at wit's end to keep the man to that 41, who's slowly but surely gaining in from passing for the lead.
Yeah, now they go side by side for 4th. Matthew Weeks on the bottom against William Schmidt. Sticking to the trusty top lane, he's going to get a good run off, but they're going to stay side by side for the moment, and it looks like Schmidt is going to clear the 11 into turn 3, but the 11 definitely, he's pushing it pretty hard. He's going a lot faster than most of these guys up in the front, trying to get that track position and get to the front by the end of this run. As you see the 41 putting a lot of pressure on your race leader. No mistakes for Alec Daffin, but now the 41 goes to the top side, trying to use the momentum from that outer line. Now he cuts down. He's going to get a good run off the corner. The 48 rather gets loose on the exit. The 41 is going to be right on his bumper going into turn 3.
And now I'm not sure whether or not he's going to make the move. Matthew Weeks side by side with William Schmidt. That time by, Matthew Weeks was about a half a tenth slower than the leader, but the lap beforehand he was about 10th faster than the entirety of the field. But now Michael Rosero putting the pressure down on Alec Daffin as we ride on board with the man in that number 41 machine. This is the in-car camera, but this is out of it as William Schmidt still side by side with Weeks. You can see Alec Daffin, he almost gets right up to there as they have a lap truck in front of them, and that lap truck is not bowing down just yet. We'll see what happens as he goes way high here. The 75 machine going to stay on that preferred groove, and Alec Daffin going to have to compromise, and they're going to be side by side with the lead coming to the stripe here. That lap car might have played a part, but Alec Daffin able to get away from it for now, and now it's going to be the 48 out in front by a car length.
Almost contact with the lap car. Let's see, that is the 75, Christian Mullen, who was involved in an incident earlier, running on the top lane and almost caused a collision between position 1 and position 2 as the 48 going to the top, Rosero staying on the bottom, but most importantly, he's running the bottom to conserve tires. He's just staying with the 48, so as this run gets closer to its end, I feel like the 41 is going to have the advantage. He's almost on his corner panel off of 4, goes to the bottom, trying to go side by side into turn 1. He likes that bottom lane. I think that's where he wants to be. Is he going to drive it in on the middle, the 48 all the way on the top. Michael Rosero on the bottom, but he's not going to be able to do anything with it.
And now side by side, I do believe that Alec Daffin's rhythm got shifted the moment that lap car, or rather lap truck, came in his way. And now the 41 machine able to dive it in the inside line once again. Alec Daffin gonna still be there, and they come up high once again, riding it up. It's now gonna be side by side with the stripe once again, and Daffin has that edge with momentum every time, but now Michael Rosero going to be a serious threat as we have crossed the halfway point, crossed it, and it's going to be all about the way they drive it from here on out. 78 laps in, out of 130, 53 laps remaining here, and Luke Peters is going to be right there in third as they are double file for the lead for just a moment, and it's going to be the 41 who has to consolidate it once again. Turns 3 and 4 seem to be his workhouse, but now Daffin able to get to the inside line once more, and it's going to drive up just a bit higher than Rosero does, but they still keep it nice and smooth. Coming to the stripe once again. Now it's going to be the 41 going to the inside line one more time as they go into the turns 1 and 2. Still nice and smooth so far. And now Michael Rosero might be able to clear by a car length. And it looks like for the first time all race long, Rosero might have what it takes to get it done. But no, Alec Daffin going to have that crossover, and he won't use it just yet. New race leader. And it's not the 4, but it is his teammate in the 41.
Yeah, Mike Rosero, he just, like you said, his workhouse is 3 and 4. He's a lot better, especially in those last couple laps in the 48. He washes up off the corner, and the 41 is able to carry his momentum, and he used that to his advantage. Got to the middle lane, had a great entrance in 1 and 2, and just cleared the 48. It's a great pass, and now we'll see he's trying to run defensive and not allow that 48 to get around the top line and make a pass on him, as Luke Peters almost going side by side with Matthew Weeks, who has gotten around the 79 of Schmidt, and now trying to put the pressure on the 4 for third.
And you can see that Matthew Weeks seems to have something going as well. Cameron Perez is going to be side by side with Brandon Timon. Timon has some damage. That's something in the back just to note. But we go back up to the front of the pack here. Matthew Weeks, that time by, was still about 1/10 of a second faster than your race leaders. He's still the fastest man on the circuit. As Davis Lewis coming in, pit cycle going to be underway once again. Carter Casey, Talon Drake. This looks to be a bit of a change. Now I think I know why this is happening. Big time slide for Bryce Saucier. And as these guys are going to drive in oh so hard. We had a few caution laps last time we had a pit cycle. So this might be the more realistic distance that these drivers can go, about 20, 21, 22 laps. As you can see, Carter Casey on his way there. It's going to be Davis Lewis in the mix as well. And now we see another cycle. Jordan Kuntz comes in, and it could be these guys getting on cycle with the man in the 00 as Michael Rosero passes them that time by with Alec Daffin in tow. 49 laps to go. These guys are going to try to stretch this, but they only have to pit one more time. But it's going to be a risk. Maybe it's going to be worth taking as we barrel down once again. And now it looks like drivers outside of the top 10 have not pitted. Josh Coloni, the only driver in the top 10 who has not pitted, rather, the only driver who's even close to being outside of it. He's currently 10th right now, and he's a lap down, so 9 drivers on lead lap so far who have not came down and in to pit road just yet.
Yeah, I'm honestly a little surprised to see these guys going so early. I'm not quite sure how long they were able to last time, but the leaders do have a lot of fall off, almost 2 seconds on their lap times compared to their fastest laps of the race. Alec Daffin, who did a 30.7 very early on in the race, or a 30.8 rather. Now, almost 2 seconds off of the 32.7 last lap. So these guys who just pitted, they're going to have a huge edge over the leaders. But when the leaders eventually do come in, that role's going to switch, and they're going to have the momentum with their fresh tires.
And the fresh tire battle is on once again. 25 laps into the run for the Michael Rosero machine. He's still leading the way here, and these guys are showing no signs of stopping into pit road. So this is going to be a bit tricky for these guys to decipher. And Michael Rosero is still going to be in front. Alec Davin's going to be in second here, and Luke Peters is still in third. That much is true. However, the rest of this battle is going to be up to the way these guys make it happen when they enter. It's going to be sooner rather than later, and they're still not going to come in that time by, so I'm not sure what's going on now. Maybe these guys are running it long just to make sure they pit later and guarantee themselves in, but they are the more aggressive drivers, using more resources like fuel and tires, so it's going to be a bit more challenging to understand their goal. And this could actually be, River, you were in this race, the IORA race at Michigan. It became a fuel battle because there was, until that final wreck with Mark Allen Bivens and Aiden Walker, a chance we go all the way green and there will be last-second fuel runouts. I mean, guys were going to come to the checkered flag and then run out of fuel immediately thereafter. Davin and Rosero might be in the same plan. No, Michael Rosero is going to lead them, but Alec Davin is going to miss pit road. That's going to be a penalty as he came in with only 2 tires on the pavement.
Yeah, he overcooked the entry, and even if he doesn't get a penalty for unsafe pit entrance, it looks like he was speeding as he entered pit road at about 70 miles an hour. So very, very unfortunate for Alec Davin. And we'll see when he pits if he does have a penalty, but that will give the lead. Well, the 41 will stay in the lead, and we'll see when these guys decide to pit, as it looks like the 4 truck is pitting almost contact with Matthew Weeks, but Luke Peters into pit road. He's going to make it in smooth down to that 50-mile-an-hour pit speed limit as the 41 leads. That gives second to Matthew Weeks, and third, Eric Heater. William Schmidt in fourth. This field very spread out, and now the 4 truck and the 48, if he doesn't have a penalty, which I'm sure he does, he went very fast in the pit road, but the 4 truck, who had a clean entry and a clean exit, now as he is almost out of his box, he's going to have a big edge over these leaders because they still have not pit yet. He's going to have, you know, depending on when they pit, 2 or 3 or 4 laps on those fresh tires, which is going to equate to about 8 seconds, so I wouldn't be surprised if the 4 comes out the leader when this pit cycle is done.
Certainly, but my oh my for Alec Davin, the man who's been up front so long. He does in fact have a penalty, and now he looks to be out of winning contention. Very unfortunate for a great race he ran, but just coming in and overcooking the tires, he might have just, well, of course, I'm not going to say this. I'm not the driver in this position, but of course, sometimes you have to lay back, and of course, in the heat of a moment like that, where drivers are on your tail, it just becomes a bit harder to contemplate the situation at hand and perhaps go in a bit quicker or slower. Matthew Weeks comes in with Eric Heater and comes in with William Schmidt as well. 42 laps to go, and they all come in at the same time, and that leaves Rosero alongside Brandon Timon and Corey Rexford. Michael Rosero has been on track with his pit cycle going 30 laps long. If he goes in this time by, he'll have to pit with 12 laps to go. I'm not sure what his goal is right now, but it looks like this time by might be the choice to go in, and that it is. The 41 machine going to barrel down into the pit road entry at Atlanta, able to make it nice and smooth, and now it's going to be all about who cycles out up in front. Matthew Weeks is going to be on his way right now. It's going to be the next man to chase him. It looks like cycling out in front, Davis Lewis on a much different pit cycle, as Matthew Weeks is going to be there as well. Luke Peters is going to be right behind him, and Davis Lewis looks like he's going to be the man that cycles out to the lead. Jordan Coote's going to pass as well, and Michael Rosero still is scored as your race leader, but then Corey Rexford is going to get it, and Davis Lewis, it will be the man up front with a 3-second gap on 6-lap-old tires compared to the man of Luke Peters. Peters is on 2-lap-olds, and Davis Lewis is on 9-lap-olds now, so the difference in strategy is evident, and now it is in play. What's it going to be for a man like Lewis to hold on?
Yeah, well, it sounds like Lewis is on older tires, so he's got a bit of a gap with the leaders. So he's just going to have to conserve his tires really well and hope that those guys are going to push behind him, try and, you know, even out that tire wear. As we see the 41 come back out on track, lost a lot of time to his teammate in the 4, along with the 11 of Matthew Weeks, who currently is in 8th, but a lot of trucks yet to pit, as Matthew Weeks looks like he's going to be second when this cycle is all said and done. Chasing down Jordan Kuntz, who is on this other strategy. He is hoping for a yellow to come out, as he looks like he's going to get passed by Matthew Weeks, still on older tires. So very differentiating strategies for these guys, and I'm excited to see which one plays out in whose favor.
And we will see Corey Rexford comes into pit road this time by. He'll be far from the lead as Davis Lewis is the race leader, and he has Kyle Jackson right behind him. Now, Jackson is a lap truck, so he's not going to be pressured immediately. The 96 machine's still going to be in tow with him, but just out of frame, it is Luke Peters, and Peters now going to be 1.5 seconds away from the race leader. And you said it, I think, perfectly. What's going to happen for Davis Lewis, he's going to hope that Luke Peters pushes, and right now he's pushing at about 0.7 of a second faster than the man in that number 16 machine, so the pushing is there, but it's going to be all about conserving tire. Davis Lewis, we're not in the cockpit with him right now, we don't know what he's thinking, but certainly he might be pushing a bit harder with Kyle Jackson on his tail, and that might cause him to lose a bit more tire. The more tire he loses, the slower he goes, and the harder he has to push, and so on and so forth. It's a downward spiral. If any driver gets involved in it, and 38 laps to go, Kyle Jackson now has the edge on that inside line. He's not going to take it, as Corey Rexford is going to cycle out about 1 lap down, so he's not going to be the best strategy himself. But the 16 machine now has a few lap trucks to play with, as look at Luke Peters coming in like he's a slot car there. Unbelievable.
Lots of speed for the 4 truck. Goes to the outside of the 96. He's also going to get to the outside of the 16. And with that pace, almost a whole second faster than Davis Lewis with the lap trucks. And he's just going to breeze by him on the outside. So Luke Peters, like I said, pitted a couple laps earlier than his main competitors in this race. And he is a long way ahead of Matthew Weeks, who was closest to him when they pitted. Matthew Weeks 2.3 seconds behind your race leader. Mike Rosero 2.8 seconds. Eric Heater 3.4 seconds. William Schmidt almost 4 seconds behind. And then you have Jordan Coots, who continues to fall on his older tires. As now Luke Peters has almost a second gap over Davis Lewis. Matthew Weeks has closed the gap, but just a bit. We'll see what happens with these guys and how this pace changes with Luke Peters on a couple lap older tires. I don't know if it'll affect him that much.
And I don't know if it will indeed, as it looks like Matthew Weeks is about a second, now almost 2 seconds off, as he's going to have to do battle with not just Kyle Jackson, but Davis Lewis. So he's going to be gridlocked for about lap or so's time, and he's going to have to push that much harder. I do believe right now that Matthew Weeks now going to be in second, but I do believe that Luke Peters has the strategy to beat. Kyle Jackson did not give these guys an easy time. We saw that there was almost contact last time Kyle Jackson got passed by the leader, and what he's able to make it happen that time by Luke Peters was, it looks like now Matthew Weeks going to be on the hunt, hot pursuit, a 2-lap difference in tires. That's much less than what we saw last time we saw a battle for the lead. That was a 7-lap difference. So I don't know if this is going to really mean all too much, but Matthew Weeks going to have to make it through 2 cars in front of him, and then the leader, if he wants this victory. It's always about passing the car. It's one thing to catch the car or the truck in front of you, but it's another thing to pass them. So Matthew Weeks has had a lot of pace all race long, looking for first win on the season. Luke Peters is as well. But now it's going to be all about honing in your senses, getting yourself all focused up. And Luke Peters knows this himself. He'll have to do the exact same thing. That time by, he was about 1/10 of a second slower, so Weeks would have to put down, I'm thinking, about 15 better laps to get him. And on tire strategy, he's not going to be able to do that independently, so he'll have to put down a lot of good laps and then go right where the number 4 machine goes, as these two have the supreme strategy over the remainder of the field.
Yeah, see, Michael Rosero now, he's going to put a lot of pressure on Matthew Weeks. Matthew Weeks went to the top for a couple of laps, which I'm surprised to see. He has been the man who's been saving tires more conservatively than anyone else. Now the 41's going to go to the bottom, and Michael Rosero's got a lot of pace, and he really wants that spot. As these two continue to make up time on Luke Peters, almost contact a big side draft in the middle of the corner, or rather taking the air off of the right rear of the 41, which got him pretty tight. He had to check up, and Matthew Weeks, hanging on for the meantime, now goes to the top lane, the 41 on the bottom, but a good entrance for the 11, and he should be able to hang on to the spot. They come up a turn 2, almost clears the 41, not quite. Side by side, even down the back straightaway, and the 11 back to the top lane, the 41 on the apron, almost wrapping that white line, doing a great job. He's going to slide up, has to check up again, and the 11's going to get the drive off. If they're just staying even, but they're both catching Luke Peters at a rapid pace, more than a 10th per second now, almost a 10th per second rather, a 10th per lap. Now it's almost 3/10 per lap, even though they're side by side. So Luke Peters falling off a lot. He's got lap traffic behind him as well, trying to get by him. And now the 41 has taken over the second spot and cleared the 11 truck.
And there you have it. The 11 truck has been passed, and Michael Rosero is on the youngest tires in this battle. And of course, Brandon Timon is going to be battling with Corey Rexford. Rexford, it does have newer tires, so does Josh Coloni, but they're not on the lead lap. So the drivers on that lead lap with a chance at the victory is to Michael Rosero with the newest tires, and he is now half a second away from Luke Peters. So we said beforehand the 41 machine didn't get the greatest initial experience to catch up to his teammate, but right now with Corey Rexford right in front of your race leader Luke Peters, it's now going to be the 4 and 41 show out in front with 30 laps remaining. We passed lap 100 already, and we're coming down to the final dash, and these two teammates with the blue ovals, they're going to have to settle amongst themselves here at the big oval by the blue. It's Atlanta down south, and it's going to be a great showdown from here on out as they keep it going. Corey Rexford right in front of the race leader, and now the 41 dives low on his teammate.
Yeah, Luke Peters losing a lot of pace, and the 41 is just so much quicker on the bottom. He's gonna run that bottom lane, which doesn't carry as much momentum for the corner, but he stays on his corner panel, side draft down the straightaway, gets the nose ahead into turn 3, and he's gonna clear him off of turn 4, unless Peters can fight back, which he can. He's just barely there, and now running up way high in the quad oval rather, and the 41 just barely there, trying to get ahead. Now he's clear, and he will come up on the exit of turn 2 as your new race leader, ahead of his teammate Luke Peters in second, Matthew Weeks trailing in third, and it's a couple seconds back to Eric Heater, rather just a second, as he watches these guys battle. He's made up a lot of time, so has William Schmidt, and then there's almost a 6-second gap back to Davis Lewis in sixth.
And there you have it. Gaps are being formed so far as it's going to be the 41 machine coming down once again. And now he's going to be leading out in front with 27 laps remaining. Luke Peters now going to be out with 3/10 back, and Matthew Weeks 3/10 back as well. So Weeks now going to be in the equation, and we are now about 10-15 laps away from the final pit cycle of the night. Going to be all about when these guys come in and, of course, where they do. You want to hit the marks on pit road. We saw Alec Davin had a great race go into shambles because he wasn't able to make it happen. He's currently position number 18 after that incident. And now these guys up front know that they have to be patient, but they also have to be aggressive. The time is now, and it's evident that we have not had a lot of yellows tonight. So it looks like if you're going to make it happen, you have to think quick, and you have to think about every single opportunity and take them if they're necessary. Coming down to the stripe once again, it's going to be Michael Rosero there with Luke Peters, and Matthew Weeks going to be right there as well. Eric Heater going to be the mix in that 4th spot, and William Schmitz in 5th as Davis Lewis is in 6th, and these guys up front, the top 8 are now within 10 seconds of each other, and the top 10 are within 17, as it looks like Rick Spencer Walt, despite the damage we mentioned, is still there in 10th. So a great night for him, even though not the best truck when it comes to condition. He's been really great at keeping himself together, as Jordan Coots going to be the first man to come down on pit road. Tire cycle is on its way.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Coots, who stayed out on that initial caution, hoping for a yellow in the late race, and now I don't know if they're going to get one. The field is really spread out, so he might be changing his strategy, trying to pit early and get a little bit more pace on these leaders. He pitted with about a 10-second gap, I believe, maybe a little bit more. So now he's going to try and get on these fresh tires and make up a lot of time on the leaders before they pit. I think they've still got at least 10 laps left, but I could be wrong, as Michael Rosero now with about a 6/10 gap to Luke Peters, which is kind of evened out. Luke Peters with that early pit stop, and he started dropping rapidly, but now he's hanging on to second. Matthew Weeks is putting the pressure on him, though. And Eric Heater right there along with William Schmidt. These guys just watching those two battle for second. And now the 11's going to go to the bottom into turn 1, trying to make something happen on Luke Peters. He's got a little bit more of an edge with the tires, and he's going to get right on his corner panel off of 2, but the 4 hangs on to the spot.
And hanging on nice and smooth, Matthew Weeks still going to be in the mix here. These top 3 guys are the 4, the 41, of course, leading, and Matthew Weeks in 3rd. 23 laps to go, become 22 this time by, and you know what that means. At TrackCams22.com, crank it up. We'll be back with 19 laps to go. We hope you enjoy Uninterrupted, live on FTN with Track Cams for Gormans. Be sure to click their link in the description for the best cameras on iRacing. If you want broadcasts like ours, be sure to let them know you love this feedback and the support that they give us, and use their cameras. We'll be right back, Uninterrupted, live on FTN. And with 19 laps to go on the track, William Schmidt going to be coming down on pit road. He's currently your leader as guys are cycling in and cycling out. Corey Rexford now going to be able to take the lead, and he's going to be one lap down when the cycle gets on its way. And we are all sorted out. William Schmidt going to get back on track now, and Brandon Timon going to be in second as Michael Rosero going to be on a 2-lap old set in third. So I do believe Michael Rosero has cycled out as your leader once again, but he's going to be on slightly older tires than Luke Peters. It's a 1-lap difference this time by with 19 laps to go. That 1-lap difference might be everything. Luke Peters going to have to claw down a total of about 5 seconds. Now going to be about 3 seconds as Brandon Timon comes to the pit road this time by, and no caution, no incident, and it looks like the entirety of this cycle has been completed up front. And we will get back to the racing affair as Corey Rexford is going to be the only other driver to worry about. He's out in front by 3 seconds when he gets caught up to. I believe he's going to come in, and that will be it. And your cycle will be given to Michael Rosero, but Matthew Weeks is going to be half a second back, and it's all about pushing now. Weeks is going to be on a 1-lap older set than the man who's going to be in the lead after Rexford pits. So now it's going to be all about delicate decision making. So what's it going to take for a guy like Weeks to make it happen? A guy like Rosero, who's been up front all race long.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew Weeks rather he's had a lot of pace all day, and I think he's great at saving tires. But now we'll see what the short run speed is like in this number 11 Toyota, as he's got about a 1 second gap from Michael Rosero, a little bit less now, as Corey Rexford losing a lot of time. We'll see when he comes into pit. Still not yet, seeing how long he's going to try and stay out. Matthew Weeks closing the gap. He pitted a couple laps earlier than Michael Rosero. Right when we went to our break, he was pitting in, and then Michael Rosero came in a couple laps later. So Matthew Weeks maybe on a lap or two older tires, but nevertheless, he's keeping a lot of pace in that truck. But he lost about 2/10 to Michael Rosero, as now Rosero makes the pass on Corey Rexford for the race lead. Matthew Weeks will probably get him through 3 and 4 here. And a gap seeming to form even now in the top 5. They've been very close together all race. But now Eric Heater has a couple seconds on Luke Peters. Luke Peters has a couple seconds on William Schmidt. And then Jordan Kuntz, who is on that different strategy, sits in 7th. He'll come out 6th when this strategy is said and done. So he really made it work. He came in that original pit stop from 7th. And now sits at 6th. So even though there probably won't be a late race caution now with the field so spread out, it seems like that strategy is just going to be okay for the 00.
And it looks like it's going to be just okay. He's locked into the playoffs nonetheless, so he's going to be in a good circumstance. Had to try something new, and it's going to be a great opportunity to learn as he's still out in front compared to the majority of the field. Rosero has about a half a second of gap still. He's on slightly newer tires than Matthew Weeks, so that could be why as Luke Peters gets around Corey Rexford. And with 14 laps to go, I think it's going to come down to these top 4 guys if we don't get a yellow. Of course, it could come down to that, and Jordan Kuntz would go all the way around the entirety of the field. And there you have it, as it looks like the 41 machine still out there on the top of the field. 14 laps to go. We'll check another remainder of the pack. Rick Spencer-Walt going to be passed there by Talon Drake in the 10th spot, but Corey Rexford is still on the track, and he's been on for 26 laps. He's been on there for the longest of any driver on this stint. It looks like he's going to go until about 10 laps to go and call it a day, as it's going to be only 10 drivers finishing on the lead lap, it looks like, as Alec Dabney going to come in this time by. I'm not sure if he's going to be done on this note. He's already 1 lap down, so he might have just been playing the strategy game a bit long as well.
Yeah, Alec Daffin certainly, fell victim to circumstance with that incident or speeding onto pit road, and he now looks like, I don't think he's retiring from the race, rather just trying to put on some tires and see if he can make up spots. Already a lap down, but he's only got other trucks 5 or so on the same lap as him, so can't really lose that many positions. It's now only 11 trucks on the lead lap. Corey Rexford falling to about 5 seconds behind your leaders. I'm not sure when he'll pit, but trying to stay out. It sounds like he might be pitting this lap. Depends on what that radio transmission was, as Michael Rosero leads 7/10 back to Matthew Weeks, who's just hanging onto that gap. And you can never know if they're trying to save or not, but if this is Matthew Weeks trying to save, he's going to have a lot for him at the end of this race. Eric Heater just 2/10 off of Matthew Weeks, though. He's staying within a second of Michael Rosero. These two are definitely going to give him a run for his money on the last couple of laps here, as they're nearing 10 to go in this 130 lap event.
And Corey Rexford coming down on pit road, and he's going to spin on pit road. It almost looks like he definitely got it almost down to the rear end of that pit road wall. So we're going to check in 15 seconds. He smoked up the tires on his exit there. It looked like he was going to spin, but he's good. He's going to be in the 11th spot right now, so able to cycle just outside the top 10. It almost looked like he was going to wreck there, but he's going to be back on his way. And Brandon Timing going to be able to catch him here with 3 seconds behind the 39 machinist. Michael Rosero out in front. He's going to pass Terry Wells that time through, and now the 41 has about an 8/10 gap as Eric Heater now going to shoot it in on Matthew Weeks, and Eric Heater takes home second spot. Now it looks like the 09 machine has something to prove. He's going to go down to the inside on Terry Wells, and single digits remain. This is going to be a big one as we see the 09 machine go down to the inside line for a moment, then go way back high. The Alpha Tauri 09 looking to make something happen here, as it looks like now he has that momentum on the high side, and Michael Rosero might have to put the Jets on once again. We'll see whether or not that's the case, though. It doesn't look to be an all too critical situation for the man out in front, but still, one driver still trying to chase him down, and that's Eric Heater. As you can see, Chris Tripp almost consolidates the line of Michael Rosero. No contact, no issue, and with 8 laps to go now, the leader's playing nice with the lappers.
Yeah, you see Michael Rosero to the top. I was going to say, he's still running that line that looks like he's trying to conserve his tires. Eric Heater gained a lot when he ran the top, and so Michael Rosero trying it out and very close to the wall on the exit of turn 2. But now, with about 8 laps to go, this is the time where these guys are going to turn off all saving. They're going to turn on, you know, they're going to start running as fast as they can, and they're going to start running fastest lines possible. No worries for saving at all now as they take 7 to go. Still about 7/10 in between your top 2. Eric Heater actually gained a little bit running the bottom lane in 1 and 2. He's making up time on Michael Rosero. This race is surely not over.
And it does not look like it's over. That time by Eric Heater was able to gain about a 0.5 and that's not all too much, but if Michael Rosero continues to lose time like that, it will add on to itself. And Michael Rosero there in that number 41 is still leading with about a quarter, and now 3/4 of a second lead, and nothing can be done for Eric Heater except a continuation of the pushing. It's going to be Matthew Weeks now side by side for that final spot in the podium. It's going to be Luke Peters diving down, and I think Peters has the tire to hold on to it this time through. William Schmidt's in 5th year, and he's going to be able to hold on not quite nicely, but side by side they still are, and now Matthew Weeks able to hold on, and you can see that it's going to be Luke Peters right there, position number 4, truck number 4, as he's still chasing in on Matthew Weeks. Looking at that incredible nose camera shot that we were provided, you can see as they rush by the crowded grandstands, it's going to be all about how the number 4 holds on to himself as he's so close with 5 laps to go to making that pass for 3rd.
Yeah, you see, this battle for 3rd, Luke Peters to the top lane, trying to just make any line work, going to the top. Matthew Weeks running that trusty bottom lane. He's been doing that all race. And you see, back to the battle for the lead, Eric Heater is going to have to fight with the lap car, who almost gets it his way and takes his line. That's the 07, I believe, of Bryce Saucier getting lapped by the leader a couple laps ago. Eric Heater is going to have his exit obstructed by the 07, and now Bryce Saucier is going to give up that spot. Eric Heater still 7/10 behind the leader with 4 laps to go, trying to make any line work. He's running the top, running the bottom, but it's just staying even with Mike Rosero, who is comfortably out in front right now, just making no mistakes, as Eric Heater is going to go back to the bottom, following him through 3 and 4. A couple lap trucks ahead of them going side by side, and then it's clear sailing until this group of 3 with Cameron Perez, Rick Spencer, Walt, and Talon Drake, and but Mike Rosero is going to have a couple seconds till he gets to these lap cars to just hang on to the lead. No mistakes, take an easy line, goes back to the bottom. Eric Heater trying to run the top, still 7/10 of a difference. These guys very similar on pace, and Eric Heater just doesn't really have enough right now. And it's going to be pretty tough to make up almost 4/10 per lap. Coming to 2 to go here.
And have to agree with you, going to be very tough to make it happen. Michael Rosero is still on the move in that first spot with 2 laps to go here. Still about a 7/10 distance, so while he did lose about a 10th or 2 in the early going of the run, I don't think that Eric Heater has enough unless something crucial happens in the strategy. 2 laps to go. They're going to have to make it 2 more turns until we get down to the end of it. So if Rosero gets that white flag, it could be smooth sailing, but that's not confirmed. Talon Drake going to come right up the track with Eric Heater right there. Drake going to lose an awful lot of time. Now he's going to be in 10th spot and 1 lap down. Rick Spencer-Walt makes it up into 9th. But white flag's out, and it looks like it could be it for Michael Rosero.
Yeah, Michael Rosero still that 7/10 difference, now down to 8/10. Eric Bayer just trying anything, had that 3 and 4 obstructed by the lapper of the truck in 10th of Talon Drake, who goes a lap down there. And now as they come up to turn 2 for the final time, Michael Rosero, 130 laps, and he's just riding around this whole time, keeping his truck clean. And it's going to pay off as he goes through 3 and 4. No shot of an overtake by Eric Heater. And as they come off of turn 4, Michael Rosero is going to win and lock himself into the playoffs at Atlanta.
And a great run in the Fisher Studios 200. Michael Rosero wins over the remainder of the field, and we will get race results on your screen as he's already going to have a drift shade to Tokyo here in Atlanta as Michael Rosero comes home on top. Great showing put on by the man in that number 41. And the man with the plan here tonight, Michael Rosero, going to win over Eric Heater in 2nd and Matthew Weeks in 3rd. Then it's going to be Luke Peters 4th, William Schmidt in 5th, and Jordan Kuntz in 6th, with Davis Lewis 7th and Carter Casey in the 8th spot. Then 9th, Rick Spencer-Walt, and then Talon Drake in 10th, 1 lap down. River going to take it from here, 11th to 20th.
Yeah, in P11, a lap down, is Brendan Timon. Vinny Tigner in 12th, and Cameron Perez finishes 13th. 14th, Mike Campbell in the 10 truck. Bryce Saucier, we saw, who is with those lead trucks with about 5 to go, lapped for the 2nd time in 15th, and now in 16th, Alec Daffin, who, very unfortunate for him, coming home 16th, led the first half of this race, and now will have to settle for 16th. But 17th is Joshua Coloni in the 33 truck. Corey Rexford comes home 18th. 19th, Kyle Jackson, and 20th is Brian Russo in the 3.
And then in 21st, going to be Christian Mullen, Chris Tripp there as well. And these are retirees for tonight. Terry Wells, Cody Webster, Tyler Nofe, Carson Freeman, Jacob Elkins, Connor James, and Nicholas Pressey as Aaron Brown finishes in 30th. Joseph Jara and Alex Tallman and Parker Collins and Sam Benson do not make it to the start of this event. And that will round out your 34 cars that made it to the race session. 38 entered, 34 going to qualify, and 1 comes out on top. Michael Rosero, what a race for him, and it's going to be one to remember to lock him in. Looking to get the momentum, and it looks like he just got himself on the right foot going right into the All-Star race.
So that was a great showing, a great job by Michael Rosero. Just dominated the second half of the race. He conserved his tires well. He did a great job all around, and now we'll burn it down, blows up his motor, celebratory fashion, and I believe we'll try and get him in for an interview, see if he's in a voice chat.
And that we will, as it looks like the burnout has expired, and the engine might be right there with him. We will get the man who got it done in Michael Rosero on his way, and we'll try to get that interview in just a second. Doesn't look like he is there in a voice chat just yet. Eric Heater and Matthew Weeks look like they are, but now Michael Rosero going to be available for comment. Let's get him in, this time by the man at the number 41, able to get it done in this race. Just fell into your lap. Michael Rosero able to get it done and win here at Atlanta. So how do you feel after tonight's event?
I just feel amazing. I mean, I haven't won a big league race in a really long time, so it feels really good to be back in victory lane.
And great to be back in victory lane indeed. Tonight's strategy went your way, and you were able to come home on top as a result. So how was it managing that as the night went on? Because tires were the name of the game when it came down to getting the victory.
It was definitely really stressful. If not, it was basically a big factor of the whole race. I mean, I know even though we were the fastest truck, we could still get beat by strategy. Like it doesn't matter. You could be a second faster, 2 seconds slower than the other guy, and you could still win. So we just had to play that right, and that's exactly what we did. We were the fastest truck on the whole track and played the strategy really well.
And strategy played really well indeed. Now, we saw a battle between you and Luke Peters that basically solidified the victory. When you got past your teammate there in the 4, it was smooth sailing from there. So how was it managing tires and eventually doing battle with the 4?
Really, really difficult. I mean, I wouldn't say difficult, really. I think I was in a VC with him. He said he hit the wall, which I saw him hit it too. And so I was just calm getting around him, really. And I wouldn't say that was the only battle, really. There was so many good ones between me me battling with like Alec, Matthew, Peters. Like it was incredible. That was like one of the most fun races I've done in a while.
And certainly a great one to go down into the history books for your racing here in iRacing. Of course, it feels like real racing. You could say it's not physical, but man, I tell you what, racing here, it's one story to tell. Now, River, after this one, how are you feeling when it comes down to it? And any questions for Michael?
Oh no, I just want to congratulate Michael. You did a great job. Just hanging around behind the 48, and then with that issue that he had on pit road, just were able to take advantage. You did a great job. Holding off the rest of the field. So just congrats to you. That's all, man.
Thanks, man.
There you have it. Well, Michael Rosero able to come out on top before the All-Star race. So before we get to that, anyone you'd like to thank and any thoughts going into the All-Star event?
I want to thank my teammates for cooperating with me. We were really discussing strategy, and I want to thank Peter really for basically guiding me through that whole last run. I mean, he helped a lot, so I owe him there. And thank you guys so much for broadcasting. You guys did a great job tonight. And yeah.
There we have it, Michael Rosero, top of the board here in that number 41 machine. So we got to thank you for your time. And once again, congratulations to your victory here in the Fisher Studios 200.
Thanks, guys.
Drag him right back in and get your second place finisher, Eric Heater, on top of the game all day long as well. Came up just short in that final battle. And it looks like it was a game of, well, I would say a game of cat and mouse, as it was a final battle between a few tenths that got you up there. So how was it all race long?
I don't know if we're going to have Eric Heater right now. He might be away from his computer as he's muted in our... Oh, there he is.
There we go. Eric Heater now here and second of the night. So how do you feel after this one?
I kind of just went into the race not really knowing how things were going to go with the tires. As the race went on, we kind of figured out that tire saving wasn't as important as we thought it was going to be. So the first couple runs there, I definitely did not maximize my pace of what I should have been doing. So I lost quite a bit of time there. But going to the second few runs there, sorry, I'm a bit out of breath. It was a tough race, but at the end of that race, it was just all pushing, no saving at all, really. You just saved the first few laps to not damage the tires, and after that, it was just go. And then, especially on the last few laps of the run, you just had to run it almost flat out on the top. And that's what I felt I was best at doing. Once we got down to the last few laps of the run, I had really, really good pace. But the last run there, it just never came to that point because it was just a split 20-20 lap run for the last two there. So I think Michael did a really good job. I couldn't have really done much more to catch him. We pitted and finished pretty much equal before we came in. So hats off to him. It was a really fun race, really tough race, a lot of green flag running. It was fun, and I do enjoy this track. It wasn't, loose sliding around too much. It was more on the tight side, but it was still fun.
And a great run for you with all the strategy said and done. So when it comes down to it, Atlanta, we're going to go to it back-to-back weeks, but a different configuration. Of course, tonight, the older configuration of the Fisher Studios 200, but then the All-Star race, now that's going to be a totally different can of worms with a new configuration, sort of like a super speedway. So how would that be for you to manage?
I'm just going to worry about finishing. If I get a win in that race, that's okay. I mean, I don't really like plate racing that much, so I don't know. We'll see. I'll take whatever I can get.
And that we will see. So Eric Heater, second on the board tonight. Anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I was in VC with a lot of guys there, especially some of those guys in the top five, like Michael and Luke. Talking to them was a big help to get an idea of what we had to do there, especially with getting a bit more on the tires there. Probably would not have figured that out on my own, so thanks to them.
And there we have it, Eric Heater, second tonight on the board in the Fisher Studios 200. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Drag him right back in and get your third place finisher, the man at the number 11 machine. That is Matthew Weeks. A hard-fought battle for the tail end there in that second spot, but coming home in third here tonight. So how was it running this 200-mile event?
It was fun. Wish we had more fuel load in the truck so we can go longer, so the tires actually matter. But it was a blast, dude. I had a good time.
And a great time it seemed to be. A long green flag run with strategy determining who came out on top. So strategy for you, how did it play out?
I noticed I was a little better on the longer run at that first long run we had before we went green. So I went an extra lap than them. And then I was like, okay, so we come out and they went, and I started catching them again, and then I don't know what happened. Then I think it went 3 laps longer than Alec, and I think he got a speeding penalty or something. So we come out, and Michael flew by me, and I was like, dang, dude, Michael was fast, man. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go 20. I'm gonna go as hard as I possibly can. Go 20 laps here, pit. I'm gonna put 4 tires on it because I thought they would go longer and just put fuel in it. And as soon as I pitted, man, Michael followed me a lap after. He was just keeping track of me. He was quick though.
And he was quick indeed. You were as well, though, able to run up front all night long. So what was the key to your success here at Atlanta?
I was trying not to be on throttle as much as everybody else. I just was trying to save that right front because the setup we used, it was just, for some reason, that right front was getting so hot. So I was just trying to be nice and smooth and take care of it for the long run.
And a long run, you came prepared. The 11 machine comes home in third. Now Atlanta back-to-back as the All-Star race is going to be at the new Atlanta in just about a week's time. So what will it be for you to get the W there, as we're very close here tonight?
I don't know. I don't race the trucks that much, and I've never raced the trucks there, so I don't know what it would be. So we're just gonna wing it when we get there.
And there we have it. Going to wing it all the way. Matthew Weeks, third of the night. So anyone you'd like to thank?
JD Designs, so he painted my scheme, man. He always makes some good schemes. Pro Edge Racing, my team, like, and all the leagues I've run in. Shout out to them. You guys in the broadcast booth, the admins in the league, man. It's been fun racing this league the last couple of weeks. I've been having a blast, so shout out to everyone a part of it.
And there we have it. Matthew Weeks, number 11 machine comes home, third of the night. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, y'all have a good night.
Now drag him right back in, and there we have it. Matthew Weeks rounds out the podium procedure, but Michael Rosero comes out on top. River, before we shut this one down, any final thoughts?
No, I just, it's my first time being up in the broadcast. It's a lot of fun. It's a great group of guys. They all race real clean, Coming from most of the races that I do, the last one that I did just today is complete wreck fest. So it was really nice to see this change. These guys they got a lot of talent, and it was really fun, seeing how the tire strategy played out and the fuel strategy played out, and what different decisions these guys were making out on the track. And I had a blast, honestly.
Absolutely a blast to watch, and a blast from Michael Rosero, who comes from your winner of the Fisher Studios 200 here. We'll be live next on Monday night with the Integrity Ignite series, and this series will return on a Saturday night at 8 Eastern as always, and we hope to see you there for the Stock Car Racing League All-Star Race. From David Kreutz in the production booth and the commentary box, as well as River Page, our commentator tonight as well, we thank you all for watching and hope to see you whenever we are once again live on FDN. We hope you all had a great night, and we hope to see you once more.